Hello, welcome Soul Aligned Self Care people. Let me just wait and make sure it's live. Okay, all right, we're live. So, uh, it's been a little bit because I didn't do a live last week. Let me just move my notes here. Because of the holiday, and so I'm glad to be back. I do have a little bit of a cold. I think I'll be able to make it through. I really struggled recording the book club last night. My face kind of hurts a little bit, but I feel a ton better today. So I thought I would try. I probably should have got a drink beforehand, so let's hope that I don't cough my brains out. So this week I'm excited because we're starting a new series and it's going to go through the month of December. I'm not really sure how long it'll go. It's probably going to go into January also, and it's called the Live on Purpose series. Um, and it's a combination of two other series that I did on my blog, and um, one of them I did on the podcast and on here, I believe, which is How to Find Your Life Purpose, which I did a while back, and then I did the Get Unstuck series, if you guys remember correctly. So it's kind of a combination of those, and both of those kind of help you do the same thing, both of those series, and they do have a lot of similarities, but they served a different purpose to different people. Like um, some people that it served were really stuck and had a loss of purpose, and some were just going through life changes and rediscovering new purposes or trying to find a new purpose. And they're both extremely important, and both are things that are I had to work through in my life myself. So it's important for me to help others. Very important to me. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. I'm following my notes because I am like I'm really congested. I do not take cold medicine, but I do feel very foggy today. Um, it's really important for me to help people through this process because it took me so long because I had to figure it out myself. And so, what I want to do is make the process quicker and easier for you so that you could spend more time living your life fully and less time trying to figure this stuff out, right? So, I would consider this to be one of my purposes. I always talk about how I like to teach driven women how to practice daily self care to avoid stress, burnout, and overwhelm. That's very important to me too, because as you know, that I had a stroke caused by stress, and so I try to teach women, well, everyone, but I do focus on women because I understand women more than men. So I do focus on women, um, how to reduce those stress levels and really live a more balanced life so that you don't experience the burnout and overwhelm. But also finding your life purpose and living in that purpose, in your values, is super important also. And this is part of the whole self care process. So I feel like these two things are very connected. So I decided to combine the two series um, because I have the program Aligned and Worthy, which is for the deep level self care, and I have a one-on-one mentorship that's available anytime. You could just message me if you're interested in it. It's a 6 week mentorship. Find your life purpose. If you're interested in something like that, you could just message me. Um, but I noticed I'm turning that into an online course, and I'm really excited about it. But I noticed how similar the two things were, how they combined together. And I wondered if I should have two separate courses, but I feel like it's just too much information for one course. So I am going to create a separate course that's easy to move through with very simple action steps. One of the things that I love about the Life Purpose course is that it will have very specific tools that you can use to work through it. It's not just a bunch of fluff. There's going to be very specific tools. It's going to get to the point, and it's going to help you get from point A to point B, which we're going to talk about in a second. So today I'm going to share with you 3 ways to get started when you're feeling stuck. Okay, this is just the starting point. This is really, I also put this in a blog, so if you need to like look at notes, you could just read the blog, which is posted right on the page. Excuse me. So if you really don't worry about taking notes, you could just go look at the blog if you wanted to. It's always on my website at tinastinson.com. So you could find all the information you need right there. So let's get into the 3 things that you could do to get started. I don't want to make this live too long because I'm afraid I might start coughing. So the first thing is to know what your starting point is. To take some time and to sit down and write out where you are in all the different areas of your life, like health and fitness and relationships and spirituality, community, fun, social, whatever. Where are you in all these different areas? Really think about it. Write out where you are. Be completely honest. If it's shitty in every area of your life, oh, hey, Janet, I just saw that you were here. What's up? So be really honest with yourself, the way things are in these different areas of your life, because this is really, you're deciding what your point A is. And just like GPS, when you're going from one destination to another, you need to know what your starting point is, and you need to know what you want your end and destination to be, right? So it's very important to be honest with yourself, and really figure out where you're at right now. So take some time to do this. And the second part of this equation is, so it's a journaling activity for sure. And I'm going to be talking about this on the podcast, and I'll have some journal notes. So if you want like the journal pages for this, just hop on the podcast, which will be released on Friday. And on the show notes, there'll be the journal notes. I mean, the journal prompts. And so I want you to write down how it makes you feel. How are you feeling in this area? So say you're talking about health, and say you're not feeling too good about it. Like you feel like you could lose a few pounds. Maybe you have some kind of form of dis-ease that's showing up in your body, like high blood pressure or something like that, and you don't feel good about it. You want to make that better. How does that make you feel? Maybe it makes you feel sick. Maybe it makes you feel older. Maybe it makes you feel unattractive, the weight, whatever. So how does it make you feel? That's the most important part, is the feeling part. Really get into the feel part. So write it out. Write out every area of your life. And of course, I have suggestions on the different areas, but I really just want you to think about all the different areas of your life that are important to you. Okay. Like I said, be completely honest with yourself, because it's really important. And this activity is really for your eyes only. So step number 2. Okay. I want you to write out, if you had no limitations, none at all, no judgment from anybody in your family, society, whatever, how would you want it to look right now in each one of these areas? So you're going to do, excuse me, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go through each area, and you're going to write down exactly how you want it to look like, but you're going to like dream big. What was I going to say? So I do have a podcast episode about dreaming big. And, maybe I'll put the link below so that you could link it and listen to it. But I want you to like try to release your limitations. I know this can be really hard when we're always used to like, dreaming within the guidelines of what's socially acceptable by our peers, by our family, by society. But I really want you to just kind of dream big. Like, how would you really want it to be exactly? And if it was this way in your life right now, how would you be feeling? Now, when you do this for every area of your life, I'm just going to tell you, a lot of times the feeling part will be the same for the different areas. Like, I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel happy. But I want you to keep writing it, because these little, and I don't want you to like just write happy. I want you to really think about how it would feel. Close your eyes and just like imagine yourself in that dream situation that you wrote down. How would you feel? Would you feel strong? Would you feel capable? Would you feel powerful? Would you feel accomplished? Would you feel secure? Would you feel loved? Would you feel happy? Whatever. Inspired? How would you feel? And then like feel into those emotions. Okay. So that's the first 2 steps. That's pretty easy. And the second step is kind of fun. The dream part is it's kind of fun. Okay. So now the last part, now I want to go back to the dream part, because a lot of us have not been allowed, or are not allowed ourselves, I should say, to dream in a long time. And that's part of the reason that we're stuck. Okay. There's another reason I'm going to get to at the end, but that's part of the reason why we're stuck. Maybe we've been kind of like beat down a little bit. Maybe things haven't worked out for us. We don't think these things are possible. But I'm here to tell you that whatever you believe to be true can be possible for you. But if you don't believe it to be true, then that's exactly what you're going to get. Okay. So we're going to move on to number 3. So now you have like a point A and then you have a point B. So this is all you need when you're driving somewhere, right? Like you're going from New York to North Carolina, you have your point A to point B. That's all you need. Your GPS kind of shows you the steps, but sometimes they're not right, right? You still have to pay attention a little bit. But anyway, your starting destination, your end destination. This is you just need to figure out like the turns that you're going to need to make in between. And you might say to me, it's not that easy. Well, that's the hardest part, figuring out the turns. Okay, and yes, that is true. But something I want to point out is a lot of times when people have a big goal and they have success, they're so focused on this goal that when they get to the goal, it's very anticlimactic, right? They're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel as good as I thought. And that's because the good part is the journey there, okay? And so when you're going from point A to point B, all those little steps, that's the fun part, okay? That's the fun part. You get to live. That's your life. That's just how it works, okay? So when you're stuck, you're not moving. So when you're stuck at point A, right? So you're stuck at point A. So people say to me all the time, I'm stuck, I'm uninspired, I'm depressed, I'm this, like I'm stuck. And that's because they're not taking any chances, they're not taking any steps. They're either scared or they just don't know what steps they want to take, or they don't know where they want to go. So that would be point A and point B, right? Point B is figuring out where you want to go. What are your goals in all the different areas of your life? Okay, so what you need to do is take one baby step at a time. So like the first thing to do is you're going to look at the different areas and you're just going to say, I think that, well, let me not get ahead of myself. So you're going to take one baby step at a time, deciding if it was a good step or not. Okay, so you're going to make a choice. You're going to be like, well, I want this, so I'm going to take this little step. And then after you take that step, you're going to say, was that a good choice? Did I get closer to my goal? And if not, then you're going to adjust. Or maybe there's a lesson to be learned. Like, look at what happened. If you weren't successful, is there an adjustment that needs to be made or a lesson to be learned? And then you're going to come up with the next step. You're going to keep moving forward. Learn from mistakes. And the reason we get stuck is that we're scared, or the outcome can seem so big, like you might have this big goal. So you're like, Tina, you made me dream big. You made me think of these crazy things that like isn't really acceptable by society. So it's overwhelming. I don't know where to start, but you don't need to know. You don't know. Let me erase that. You do need to know where you're going to start. You don't need to know all the steps ahead of time. All you need to know is your next step. This is like living in the present, your next step. You're not going to worry about the hundreds and hundreds of steps that you have to take along the way. You're just going to worry about the next one. That's it. You're going to be in that next step. So when the outcome is so big, it can seem impossible and overwhelming. So to get rid of that feeling, you're just going to think about the next step. So live your life one baby step at a time. All you need to know, all you need to work on is the next baby step. There's a special on HBO. I should have looked it up before we hopped on here. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Stutz or something like that. It's an interview with, I think he's a psychiatrist, I'm not really sure, or a therapist of some sort, but he had this theory that I loved, and he talked about, like, I don't know if he was talking about the same thing I'm talking about, but I love the idea of it. He calls it the string of pearls, which made me giggle a little bit. But anyway, the pearl, he draw on a piece of paper, you make a circle, which is the pearl, and then you're going to write your next step in there, and then you're going to draw a line after that, but you're not going to write the next step, right? All you're worrying about is that step. But you know that right after you're done with that step, you're going to keep moving forward, right? You're going to make the next step. So it's the string of pearls, just keep going. So I liked the visual that he used for this, and that's something that you could do in your journal, right? So all you need to know, just like I said, all you need to work on is that next step, okay? That's it. Live in that present moment. Live in that step. Okay? It's less overwhelming, it's more achievable, and it's more fun. And I might add, as a bonus, as you have these small successes with these little steps, you'll have more confidence. As you gain more confidence, you have more faith in yourself. You start trusting yourself again, which is another thing that happens when you have a bunch of failures in a row. Like you start to not like trust yourself, right? You're like, I can't make any good decisions. It's not it's not always about making good decisions. It's about learning from the mistakes and learning to adjust the next step. Okay. It's learning how not to get stuck in a bad decision. Okay. So as you have these little successes, be sure to celebrate them. Pat yourself on the back, no matter how small they are, celebrate them. And then come up with the next step. I'm starting to lose my voice, which is good. I'm almost done. Okay. So you're going to gain confidence from this, and this is going to help you move forward. This is how you gain momentum, right? This is what makes it fun and exciting. Okay, you'll have success with it. So moving forward, what you're going to do is you're going to take the areas above that you want to work on. You know, take one of the areas. Start with one. Start with the one that will have the biggest impact on your life. Okay, and think about what that first baby step would do. Maybe draw out the string of pearls on the piece of paper. Even if you want to make the other circles, but just don't write anything in them. You're not allowed to come up with any other steps. You're just allowed to come up with the first step. So like maybe you're going to start a business, right? Or yeah, and the first step, the first little baby step would be maybe to come up with a name. Okay? That's the first baby step. That's a fun step, right? Or you're going to write a book. Same thing. Come up with a name. So just come up with that first step. And then when you're successful with that one step, then you could go on to the next one. But until you finish that step that you're focused on, you do not move on. Okay? So ask yourself after you do that step, was it a good step? Did it go well? If it was good, then think of the next step. If it was bad, then think to yourself, is there a lesson I can learn from this? What happened? How can I do it better next time? Or do I need to do something completely different? Do I need to adjust? Do I need to like redirect myself? Hold on a second. I'm going to lose my voice. Okay. And then so on. So then you just keep moving forward. So there's no right or wrong. There's no failures here. Do you understand that? No failures. Just lessons. Hold on a second. Don't you hate those tickle coughs? I hate those tickle coughs. I should have had like a cough drop, but I didn't. But I'm almost done. So there's no right or wrong, no failures, just lessons. Remember that. Keep telling yourself. The most successful people in life are doing this. They're not feeling bad, and they're not thinking they're a failure. They're not dwelling in self-pity. They're not just sitting there like, oh God, I failed. They're figuring out what the lesson is. They're figuring out what they need to adjust. They're figuring out what the next step is on their path. And then they're moving forward. That's it. And the key phrase here is always be moving forward. Always be moving forward, because then you will not be stuck. You will not feel stuck. Always keep moving forward. Sometimes I want to like tattoo that on my body somewhere, you know? So even if you take shitty steps, even if you take 20 shitty steps in a row, you just keep moving forward. You keep adjusting. You'll get better at it as you move along. So I hope this helps. I'm just about to go cough my brains out. I'm going to make a big pot of minestrone soup and eat it all day long so that I can feel better. I feel a lot better today than I did yesterday. So I haven't had a cold since way before COVID. Like I haven't had a cold in so long. This is my first cold in a long time. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, this is going to be a new series. I'm going to be working on this life purpose series all throughout December and some of January. I do offer a one-on-one mentorship that if you're interested in the one-on-one life purpose mentorship, just message me, just DM me. Or you can email me at tina@tinastinson.com. I don't even think I have it on my website, so you would have to message me. I've had a couple of people go through it. I love doing it. But I am going to be creating an online course. Probably will be, I'm hoping, I could start it in January. Okay. All right, I'm gonna sign off before I start coughing my brains out. I love you, and I will see you next week. Bye. Oh, Jesus, my goodness.